Hi, do you want to know how to set up n8n on your own server? Which means you don't have to pay any call. You don't have to pay the subscription fee. You don't have to worry about how many executions you've set up, and yeah, generally just have your own n8n instance and do whatever you want with it. So I'm going to show you how to do this. It's going to be the most easy tutorial that you can find online. I'm pretty much 100% sure of that. You don't have to write any code. You don't have to do any SSH or any kind of whatever nonsense like that. It's very simple, very few simple steps. And yeah, and if you don't know what n8n is, it's essentially just like Zapier or make.com, but it's free and open source, which means you can just install it on your own server and yeah, use it. You can also use their own paid version, which is pretty reasonably priced. But yeah, and if you're not sure what if you're not sure what make.com and Zapier are, well, they kind of just like allow the everyday user, the non-technical people, non-programmers, to essentially create, like business automations and just like automate things, just like programming. So it's like programming but without the code. So it's kind of like user-friendly programming. So yeah, without further ado, let's crack on into this tutorial. Yeah, I hope you find it useful. So I'm going to use for this thing. It's called Ploi.io, and it just really makes it very easy to set up this particular thing. And yeah, so it's really easy for setting up Docker containers, especially. So you can actually get the first one for free, so you don't even need to worry about paying for anything. So you can just click here, get started, completely free, and yeah. And the other thing we're going to use is DigitalOcean. This is pretty it's quite simple. So you should be able to just go to this URL, log in, sign up for an account, enter your billing details, all that stuff, and then come to this URL, cloud.digitalocean.com/account/API/tokens, and if it's not the same as that, you just basically log in, then you come down here and you click API. And then once you've come to that, you're going to click here. You just enter a name. Let's call it something like that. No expire, maybe, or if you want to leave an expiry date, that just means that Ploi won't be able to access your DigitalOcean account if you after a certain amount of time. Full access. I may as well put mine on 30 days, but you can just choose whatever you want. Yep, full access, and then generate token. There we go. And then you're gonna want to come in here. You're gonna want to come to profile, and then server providers. So come in here and you select DigitalOcean because that's the one we're using. This is you can call it that. You can call it whatever you want, and then just paste it in just like that. Add the provider, and Bob's your uncle. And then yeah, then you're gonna want to come to this page. You just click on servers like that. Click DigitalOcean. Click your API key that you just added. Give it a name, whatever. So let's call it n8n. Set the server type to just server for now. This will make it a lot easier for you. Use the smallest one, and then select web server, Docker, and Nginx and Docker, and then just like that, create it and wait. Okay, so when it's finished, it's going to look like this. And yeah, so the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to enter the domain that you want to access it on. So, for example, if you have a website that's like your name, so my name's Daniel. So if I had a website, if they had the domain daniel.com, then I would call this Daniel n8n.daniel.com. Or you can do it whatever you want. You can just have it on daniel.com if you want. Or I mean, I would prefer to have it on a subdomain like this. So you can try that. So yeah. So I'm gonna call mine Daniel n8n.trywebmania.com because this is a domain that I own. So I'll just use that for this example. So just go ahead, create that. That will take very short amount of time to complete. So once you've created your you created the site here, you go and click the IP address at the top, and then come to your DNS settings. I use Cloudflare. Maybe you use something else like Namecheap or GoDaddy or just something, whatever you keep your DNS records on. Into the subdomain that you chose. If you just did it on the root domain, which would be, for me in this case, it would be trywebmania.com. That's the root domain. n8n is the subdomain. So you enter the subdomain here, and if it's a root, you just use @. That's how it works on Cloudflare and Namecheap. I'm not sure about any others. And then not you on this as an A record. You just like that. Turn proxied off. In this case, you probably don't have proxied if you're not using Cloudflare. Proxy DNS proxying is just something that they have in Cloudflare. I don't think they have it in other places. And yeah, just click that, save. That'll probably take a few minutes to propagate. If you're using Cloudflare, it's usually quite fast in just a few minutes. But if you're using something else, it can take a bit longer. Like if you're using Namecheap, it takes quite a while, or maybe like, I don't know, 10 minutes or something. But Cloudflare is usually very fast, so we'll try it now. We'll try and create the SSL certificate. It might let us, it might not, depending on whether the DNS has propagated. If it isn't, we'll just have to wait a little bit longer. Okay, perfect. So looks like that's done. So so now when we go to our domain, we should just get this very simple landing page just like that, and that'll confirm that it's all set up properly. And so next we will go to Docker here. So that's a different thing other than sites. When you click on sites, you have to click this little back arrow to get to this part, and then you click Docker. Actually, one more thing we're going to need to do actually before we do anything. We go to here and here, and we just turn Nginx off because we don't need that, because we're doing it through Docker instead. But you can just turn that off. Right, so you're going to want to go to the Docker options on the side and just create an application called n8n. That's going to create that for you. And then what you're going to want to do first actually is come to the to this document. I'll share that in the link in the description, and you just going to want to come into scripts. So you can find this on your main sidebar in Ploi. So just click on scripts, just like that. Create a new script. Give it a label, whatever. And then give it the root user. It needs to have root permission to do this. And then just copy that in there like that. Basically, all this is doing is copying your SSL keys over to a directory where it can be used by Docker, and it's doing that again with another SSL key, and then it's changing the permissions on them just so that it Docker can access it. So just click that, save script, and then you're going to want to come select the server that you've just set up, and then just click run script just like that, and then boom, done, just like that, simple. And then come back to the Docker containers. So I'll click servers, select the server that you're using, select Docker on the side menu, and then just come and copy this script here. Now you're going to want to modify this just one little bit, and that bit will be the host that you're using. So whatever host that you're, whatever domain name that you chose, and subdomain. So you remember I used n8n.trywebmania.com. So you can just put in whatever domain name that you chose there, and if you use the subdomain, use that as well. I think that's it. You don't really need to change anything else. You can change the database password if you want. It's not really necessary. But other than that, just leave everything else as it is, and then just copy it. Come back to here, and then just paste it in, just like that. Click save. You have to click save. And then, let me just think. Okay, actually one more thing that we're going to have to do. We're going to have to come back to, we're going to have to copy this service name, n8n. Go to our site. Actually first, if we haven't already done that, just click link site. Leave that as it is. Should be 443. Select the site that you used. Click save. And then you're going to want to come back to the site. Select manage. Nginx configuration. Don't worry, I know this might be a bit scary if you're a bit of a beginner, but don't worry. You just have to change this one little piece here. 127.0.0.1. Just change that to n8n, which is the service name. And then come back to the Docker container. So that's the service name right there, and then that should be good. So we just want to run that, and then we'll come and have a look at the logs here. If you don't get a log after a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds, then there might be an issue, but if you followed everything exactly how I've shown you, then you shouldn't get an issue. So alright, and there we go, simple. And then you have your completely self-owned, self-hosted Nginx instance, and you didn't even have to write any code except change a few little tiny snippets that I showed you. So you can just come in there and just enter your details. Just like that, and it's all got everything that you need set up. And there you go. And you can you set all this up. It basically just sends you a license key and your email address, so you can just pop your email in there, and there you go. Just like that, it's all ready to go. So I hope you like that. Thank you very much. If you found that useful at all, like and subscribe. There's going to be more tutorials like this, using n8n and setting things up, which are maybe slightly technical, and just doing kind of business workflows and stuff like that. So I hope you found that good. Cheers.